Gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to this Austin FC media availability with head coach Josh Wolff. Everybody knows the score. Please raise your hand in the reactions section to put your question to Josh. One question each. We've got 10 minutes max due to travel schedules, so I'm going to be a little bit rigorous with that today. So let's get on with the questions. Your first question is Mark Turner. Mark, over to you.
Hey, Coach. Can you tell us what the situation is with John Gallagher and how much his absence today kind of tied your hands in terms of attacking options?
Well, it definitely takes away an attacking option, and we'll just continue to wait to see where he's at physically. He had a little bit of an issue during the week, so out of being cautious, we just think it made sense to obviously, not include him in this travel and this game, and we'll see how he is when we get back. But certainly his pace, his energy, could have been useful.
Thank you. John Lupo.
Hey, Josh. Despite the scoreline, I thought that when you brought Kakuta on, he had a number of good chances, that they seemed to get the ball to him in good positions. So I thought he made a positive impact on the game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think, again, Kakuta's one of those individual players that's unbalancing, and when he gets the ball at the feet, and I think he had a couple of good chances. That one at the top of the box, I think he'd like to have back. We've all seen him take that one in training and deliver it in the back of the net. But he brought energy. He certainly brings an ability to get after guys 1v1. And I think the second half, the energy levels were up. We lacked that in the first half, but I think his contributions were obvious, and would have liked to see him get a goal there.
Mike Craven.
Coach, your overall thoughts, specifically in the first half and how y'all came out and played, and then also defensive transition.
Yeah, it was an unusual first half. Again, I think there were moments where we had decent control. We weren't creating really any dangerous chances, so that's the frustrating part. I think my takeaway was the energy levels were down. We just weren't moving in our typical manner in and around the penalty box, getting behind the line, besides Jared, who had a few moments where he got behind on the right side. But the tempo, the pace of the ball, our positioning could be better. And obviously having a little bit more positioning in and around the penalty box to either get behind the line, play through them, and create some chances in a variety of ways. But the second half that picked up, thus we were able to get some decent crosses, get into good positions, and probably a little unlucky not come away with the goal at some point. But yeah, I think the energy level was off, the running was off, our dynamic wasn't its normal self, and we'll have to look into that.
Chris Bills.
Yeah, Josh, could you take us through the decision to start Danny Pereira in midfield as opposed to some of the other options you had there? And it looked like Tomas was maybe coming a little deeper in possession. Just take us through the thinking in the midfield, and did you get what you wanted to see there?
Well, I think from the moment Danny's got here, he's played as a 6 for us, so he was fairly familiar with it. Obviously, he has good comfortability. He's been in training for the most part outside of a week that he's missed. So, it could have been Sebastian as well. But Danny gives us some calm, the ability to dribble through some areas as well. We needed to bring down a little bit of help at times with Diego and Tomas, but it's also just his understanding of the position. He was. Being in there by himself is a little different than being in the 10, where he's able to come down into pockets and obviously stay between lines also. So I thought it was a fair game for him. But he does want to move out of there. He's much more dynamic, much more explosive. I think when you get him into those pockets, he's a different type of player. So I think the second half he provided some of that when we got him in a more comfortable position. But for what we were asking, I thought he did okay, and we'll continue to look for Sebastian in that position as well.
Okay, it's Ronaldo. Sorry.
Hi, Josh. On half the time you mentioned that you saw, talking about the energy, you saw your team not with the same as before. What do you talk to them on the middle and on the half the time, and did they respond to your words?
Yeah, I think so. I think right away we came out in the second half, and again we're much more aggressive with our running, much more aggressive with our positioning, and just the circulation had more tempo and urgency to it. And those things need to coexist. And those are the things that we talked about at half. There were a couple things structurally that we talked about, but a lot of it was more about just our investment of energy, our willingness to run, our willingness to gain our positioning and our offensive structure, and then to move the ball. And if it's not in one area, how can we quickly get it to another area where we can get access to behind the line or something in front of goal? And it was certainly better to start with. But unfortunately, it took us a little bit too long. Like I said, the first half, there were moments of control, but I think the tempo lacked. And thus we just were a little bit slow at really creating anything dangerous in the first half.
Eric Goodman.
Josh, was it maybe even a bit more difficult controlling that midfield, both offensively and defensively, without Alex Ring than you might have even expected going in? It didn't seem like you guys really got a handle on it until you brought Sebastian in alongside Danny and kind of had a two-man game there.
Yeah, I think it varied. I think with Greg, he adjusts positioning, he adjusts his structure quite often, and you can hear him saying it, you can see them doing it. So how they were building with 4+1, 4+2, or building with 3. So that fluidity can cause problems, and we're every week is a challenge. Every team is good. Coaches have good ideas and different game plans, and we're continuing to evolve. And we got challenged in some of that. And again, the first half, there were moments that absolutely we needed to be better and recognize things quicker. But this is part of it. Every week's going to be difficult, and it's going to be a grind. And we will learn from this as we need to learn about many things. But we'll digest it and review it and certainly deliver it to the players.
Chris Tavares.
Hey, Josh, what are the emotions after this one? Is it frustration because of the way it started? I hear you talking about the lack of energy and all that. Is it this is one of the top teams in the division, so this maybe was how it was going to go. What are you feeling after this 2-0 loss?
Well, I think we're all disappointed. We lost the game, but it's we have expectations of what every week's going to look like, and certainly what this whole year is going to look like. So there's going to be plenty of moments that we are on the right side of it. There's going to be plenty of moments that we don't get the results that we wanted. But it's about evolving. It's about learning. And today there's disappointment, But I also, again, in the second half, there's the uptick. There's the dynamic that we typically bring and what we're typically about. And, unfortunately we didn't have it from, it could be from many factors, whether it was personnel or it was a little bit shorter week for us, traveling and playing at 12:30 here. So it's not easy, but those aren't the excuses I'm making. And we just lacked energy, and we'll try to talk about it and figure out what we can do better to make sure guys are prepared in a better way next week.
Zach Smith.
Obviously, your defense was kind of under attack from the beginning, and we knew that was going to be a thing that LA Galaxy did. But I guess what was your assessment of them and kind of how they responded in the second half? That group, especially after Hector getting hurt and all that. So, tell me about the defense.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was transition. So I think again, that's part of it. We lost some balls in some very poor spots. And again, I think they have some dynamic players. Chicharito plays in some really difficult spots. And obviously on the goal, we're not getting pressure on the ball. So the back line, we should be thinking about dropping. I think Hector does drop, and then he actually keeps the guy on. But there were some challenges in there. But again, I wouldn't say we were under siege. They had some chances, and obviously in the second half we were a bit better, and they were able to just hit us in transition. I don't see much. I'll have to look back at it, but I don't think they were certainly as dangerous, outside of those moments. But they got good players, and they have ways to hurt you. So we just got to learn and get better.
John Haig.
Coach, you talk about evolving and learning this season. What have you learned about your team in these first 5 games?
Again, I think we've shown that we certainly have a pretty good temperament about us and how we can come out and compete. And then obviously what the situation is in the game. I think the guys respond really well to the instruction and come out, and whether it's, obviously the first half was difficult, but in majority of our games, the reactions coming out of halftime, the introduction of our subs and what they can bring, you like that energy, that temperament that's really helpful to the group when we need a pop. And I also see when we stick to our ideas and stick to our plan, we can be quite dangerous. And we're learning and guiding new players along the way in that. And as they get tired, I think there's that affects decision making and our ability to execute with real quality. So there's a lot of areas for growth, and our whole team, our staff, we'll continue to do that week in and week out, and we look forward to the next challenge.
And we're going to finish with Michelle Sanchez.
Hello, Coach. Michelle with Telemundo. Quick question. I thought you did great defending Chicharito in the first half, second half. Obviously, it seemed like the defense was lacking a little bit, but you also spoke during halftime with Univision about the energy, as we've been talking about. However, here at home, how much of a difference will that make coming back home and playing here? You still have a few more games on the road. So what adjustments can we do defense wise?
We look forward to playing at home when that comes, but this is part of it. We're on the road. We know that, and it's going to be a challenge. Our defense, again, we need to continue to get better. When you're on the road, you expect to weather some storms and to deal with the opponent. And again, we need to get a little bit better with some of our recognizing what the opponent's doing, building pressure, and then obviously transitions, something that we'll need to continue to work on. But when you're losing games, you tend to take a few more risks because you need to try to get back into the game and get the equalizer, and those things happen. So, but from the standpoint of the run of play, we could certainly be better as well. Too many times we lost some balls in some tough spots, and that puts our whole back line, but it puts our whole team at risk. So we'll take a look at it, and we'll get better.
Josh Wolff, thank you very much indeed. We're going to let you go.